Katy,
Yes,
you've interviewed me multiple times.
I have.
You've grilled me
hot seat.
over and over about my story. You've asked follow-ups on follow-ups. And now it's your turn.
Okay.
So welcome on board.
Okay, thank you.
We're curious to learn about you and learn about how you interact with movement and habits. So the first question is, what movement habit do your family think is totally normal that other
Ooh.
families might find strange?
I think our rings that hang in our living room and the fact that we're always swinging on rings while we're having family conversations, while we're watching a family movie, like there's just always fidgeting and movement happening almost nonstop. We have a pool table in our living room. So like there was someone playing pool while stretching their calves, and there was someone on the bars swinging around. We have a Movemate, someone spinning around, and then someone else is in a handstand or doing like sets of push-ups. And I was like, oh, right. This was our intention, but it must look really weird from the outside.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
That is so fun. So you set up the environment so that it's just got all sorts of different ways
That's right.
to play. Love it. All right. What's one thing you do intentionally that feels inconvenient?
I would say trying to make myself walk to any place that's less than a mile to drive. It seems like inconvenient because it's like it'd be so much faster to drive, but when you're under that 1 mile mark, it's not really. By the time you get down into your car and then you drive over to where you're gonna go, and then you gotta get out and you gotta move. I don't wanna drive to dinner, but I know there's a Trader Joe's 3/4 of a mile away, and I just look at that, I'm like, I'll just walk there. It'll be faster. And then it was in the sunset and I got to sort of relax, and so it's better for me than driving.
Right.
It's faster, I would say, most times
Right.
than driving, and it also meets multiple needs at once. So it's very stacked, is how I like to say.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. What's your favorite lazy way to move that changes your energy instantly?
Getting on the ground and just rolling around. Instead of just plopping into bed, I'll get on the ground and I'll just start spinal twisting. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tight. And part of my fatigue is this physical tension. And so by doing this lazy sort of easy, I put something on the television that equally just relaxes, lazy for my mind. And then all of a sudden, now I'm ready to take a walk to the grocery store. So by choosing to not just plop into bed and then like order Uber Eats or whatever, I'll go and sort of do what I call dynamic rest.
Okay.
So it's resting my body in some ways, but it's also dealing with these stiff parts that are sluggish. If I've been on the computer, anything like that, open up and just start gently moving around, take some breaths, and then I'm reinvigorated and I can go do something else. A spinal twist for me is hitting a whole axis of my spine and the hip and the lower back, but it's just one move. I don't have to put a lot of thought into it. And I'll start with just something flowy, my knees are bent, and then I'll drop my knees and hold it. Maybe I'll straighten my top leg, do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll go for a straight leg. Now I have hamstrings, and then that leg goes over. And I just sort of build on. I just tell myself psychologically, just do what feels good. You don't have to do anything that doesn't feel good. You can leave or stop whenever you want. And then my body is like, no, that's great, keep going.
And then you build momentum.
That's right.
That's awesome. What movement feels most nostalgic to you?
Swimming.
Okay.
Swimming, 100%. Getting into the water is where I can tap into that more playful feeling for me, because when I was really young, we had access to a really nice swimming pool, and I would just go under the water and I would stay on the bottom of the pool and I'd like watch my hair make the shadows, and I would practice just diving up and down 100 times in a row. And so that I feel very free in the water, like not doing any strokes, just going and swimming and moving around. And I still feel the same way today.
Yeah. What do you tell yourself when you're tired and lazy to still move? So when you're exhausted and you're down, like what self-talk do you have to get yourself into doing that bit of movement?
Well, I would say that honestly, my tendency is to view that negatively, like don't be lazy. So I'm sort of like a hyper-productive person. I have a very strong work ethic. I'm just always trying to drive. I often confuse the need for rest with I'm being lazy. So after doing that for a really long time, sort of like negatively motivating myself to do more, I've really switched to more of a compassionate side, which is, why don't you rest? Why don't you just like massage your feet? Why don't you just stretch your hands while you're here? See if that makes you feel better. So it's that same negotiation of, why don't you see if movement, it's exploratory in that way. You're just exploring around the edges, and I have never once regretted moving in a restful way, oftentimes, when I thought I just needed to not do anything. But it's always from a place of self-compassion. Yeah.
I love that you reframe that as, actually, I don't look at movement as something that I have to do or is like some barrier I have to like overcome to get to. But actually, I'll do something simple that just makes me feel good. I love that. What's a habit that you've adopted recently that felt small, but has changed a lot?
Water drinking, like doubling my water drinking. Because again, the go, I just feel like almost like a nuclear reactor. And so I overheat when I'm not taking in enough water. And so I just made that, and it was hard for me to do. You know, where in some ways maybe movement is hard for other people to figure out how to do. Movement is not hard for me to do.
Why was this hard?
Because change is hard. So people will see me oftentimes and they'll be like, oh, you have no problem doing it. I'm like, I have no problem moving. Let me give you the list of all the things that I have a hard time doing, like anyone else. So water was just a hard one for me for a really long time. I like to drink tea throughout the day.
Okay.
So it's like, keep the kettle going, but just pour the warm water. You know, so I didn't try to really create a massive new habit. I just made micro changes, like, well, you're already making tea, so let's just take the bag out. Now it's warm water. Look at that. You just added 3 cups of water, and I didn't have to change like the flow through my mouse maze, you know, that sort of mental picture that I have of how we run our lives.
There's 2 things there. One is stop overcomplicating it.
That's right.
And then the second thing is set it up so that it's just easy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's in the flow of your life. So,
Yeah.
And it's been the impact of adding more water is like the impact of adding more movement.
Right.
It's really huge, but it's hard for us to change our brains because we just have this real strong pattern of how you move through your daily life.
Yeah.
Modifying the environment's helpful in that way, because if you just put it in the mouse maze that you're already running through, that helps. Just do the hard thing for a little bit until it becomes part of the mouse maze, and now your mouse maze is sort of elevated overall.
Yeah. And it just becomes natural.
It's just part of the flow.
Awesome.
The flow.
The flow.
The flow.
You're feeling the flow.
I'm in the flow.
It's traveling through your body right now.
Everywhere.
What are 3 non-negotiables that you protect more now than you used to?
Yeah. Walking every day. I protect my sleep more now than I did. I protect my, I would say, overall nutrition a little bit more. I don't know if that's, I'll say that it's not eating too late. Like, these are small little things, but they have really big impact for me personally.
Yeah.
And not eating too late helps me sleep.
Yeah.
So I've just, you know, we're all an experiment of one, and I've just found that those are small non-negotiables that have a really big impact.
Awesome. I ate too late last night and went right to bed, and I know my recovery was impacted, so I do agree with that. What's something you used to chase that matters less to you now?
In the way that I work, I used to want to chase people understanding what it is that I was saying. So it's like I would write a book, I would write an article, I would do an interview, and then the strange thing about social media is that you can see how people are interpreting what you say, because they'll be passing on quotes, they'll be summing up your work for other people. And a lot of times I was like, that's what you've taken from what I've said. I mean, sometimes they put quotes around their interpretations of what I said and then said it was from me for a shorter word count on their social media posts, I guess. And it used to stress me out, because not being understood stresses me out. But I've just really let that go, where like, I know what I've said, it's here. I don't feel the need to like, oh, someone's out there misinterpreting what I said, or is using it in a different way than was intended.
And it's nothing you can control.
You can't control it, right? So it's just recognizing like, oh, well, they've picked it up and have interpreted it in this particular way, and then the way I get okay with it is like, and I'm probably doing the same thing. I read what someone else has written, or even music. You know, you could listen to a piece of music or read a piece of poetry. Everything's open to interpretation. And so once I realized, like, this is no different than people seeing words, and it's like, here's what's welling up within me when I read these, and this is how I'm going to change my life. It's difficult when there's a quote around it, but I just don't care anymore.
Yeah. No, I can see how that is such an unnecessary additional pressure to add to yourself. I also tend to be that way. And maybe there is some feedback you can take away of how you're coming across, and
that's right.
maybe there's some productive way to look at that. But then there's also a line.
Yeah.
I love it. What's your favorite way to spend time alone?
Rowing.
Actually rowing.
In the bay, in the water.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's quiet. There's porpoises. There's seals. There's eagles. It's rhythmic. It's a very dynamic meditation.
Okay.
So yeah.
So dynamic meditation, and your preference there is rowing. That just felt relaxing.
It's the best thing. I don't know if you could tell from my face, but
I can tell.
It's the best. It's the best thing. And I would say a long walk, a day walking.
Yeah.
Is also, I love that meditation, but I like to walk with other people and have a long, uninterrupted conversation, because you're frenetically going to something else. So long walks are about transition-free time, and a lot can come up in a transition-free time.
Of course, of course. What's one thing that helps you feel more present?
Eye contact makes me feel more present.
Okay.
And I have a tendency to look down for the purpose of going inward, which I think can be the opposite of presence, right? You're sort of ruminating in your mind. I look at how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling all the time. And so one way to get out of that and to sort of be is to make eye contact.
Yes.
Eye contact lets me like, oh, okay, we're here. Where are we? We're here. We're on these boards. I can see what's going on. So eye contact.
I do the whole non-eye contact thing a lot, even though I'm contacting really hard right now.
That's right.
But when I'm talking and sharing something, I tend to think as I'm talking, and I'll always look down.
Yeah, same.
And I don't like that, because it kind of breaks that interaction that you're having. So that's a really good one. What's something you've learned from watching children?
Oh, everything. It's seeing how much cultural scaffolding has been built up inside of me. That's what watching children has shown me. And then also as a parent, it's shown me how I'm contributing to building up that cultural scaffolding. Now, some cultural scaffolding is necessary and some of it is unnecessary. And when you see them in their natural state early on, they're just more open, and they're here, to learn what you're doing so they fit in. And so that's what they've shown me.
They're curious. They are inviting. I agree. I agree. And like I was saying earlier, we actually learn so much from kids when we see them interacting with Movemate.
Right.
I had this conversation so many times yesterday. Parents that would walk by our booth and then look at the board and have a hesitation to be like, should I try it?
Yeah.
And the kids would look at that and they would like run to it and be like, let's do it, and then start exploring all sorts of interesting ways. And then inviting the parents to be like, oh, okay, let's do that. What's a movement that you personally find challenging or don't like,
Oh, good.
but get a lot of value from or pays off?
I mean, I find that anything that I do that I don't like is probably one of the most valuable things to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's all the movements that I'm not doing. I would say anything for the piriformis.
Okay.
So like I have a deep hip injury that's really old, and my hip would benefit from me doing some of the more uncomfortable, deep work, but I resist it because it's also hard. So I can make myself do it through planning, but I never choose that one because it's too hard, and then my brain will be like, nope, stop moving altogether.
But then when you do it, it's really key.
It's absolutely what I need. So I appreciate dynamic standing a little bit more than I used to, because it was just like, I'm standing, this is great, it has a lot of benefits, but it was contributing to more stiffness in that area. So the fact that I could do something like this while I'm standing and upright is helpful.
Yeah, I have that hip injury as well, and I was telling Ali the other day, I'm like, hey man, my right glute is just so weak. And I don't know why. And he's like, because you don't do anything for it.
That's right. I don't know why. What could be going on?
It's funny you mentioned that
Yeah.
one, because that one's like literally me.
Well, just pulling it out and just putting it on the top. Like, how do you take the thing that is hardest and move it to the top when you're always sort of battling yourself to move it all? It's really hard to lead with the hardest thing. So, like I said, I'll do it through scheduling. The focus of this class today has to be deep hip work.
Yeah.
And then that makes
Just
it
have
happen
to
a
make
little
it a
bit.
priority.
You gotta make it a priority.
Last question. What's your favorite movement to do of all time?
Of all time, meaning if I could only do one more movement for the rest of my life
Exactly.
on a desert island, what am I doing?
Exactly. This was your last movement, and that was it.
Yeah, this is tricky. This is so tricky for me, but I think it would have to be swimming.
Okay.
Wild swimming.
Wild swimming.
Wild swimming, so not in a pool,
Okay.
but in an ocean or in a lake, and swimming across it. I love swimming across bodies of water.
Okay. I can sense that you love water. You love to swim in water. You love.
I love the rocking, watery feel.
You love
of
the watery
Movemate
feel
board.
of the Movemate.
Yeah, rowing.
Rowing.
Yeah, water is definitely the element of my life.
So if I were to ask you what is one word that sums you up, it would be water, maybe.
No, that's just actually what makes me up.
But do you have a word that sums you up?
On.
Okay.
I came here and I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of my questionings. I'm happy to report that you did very well on that examination.
Thank you.
And I think that people are going to really find a lot of value in this and to learn a few new dimensions of Katy Bowman.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Perfect.